After creative director Dan Rickert left Giant Bomb, its parent company, Fandom, hit the pause button on its subsidiary's production to perform a strategic reset and realignment of their media brands. This comes 2 years after much of the Giant Bomb core left the gaming outlet. Polygon has been hit with over 20 layoffs after being sold to by Vox to Valnet, owner of 27-plus ClickFarm publications. Valnet has been mired in controversy, including a lawsuit directed at competitor The Wrap for $64.5 million in damages due to libel from their article about Valnet owner Hassan Youssef's ties to porn and accusation of sweatshop-like working conditions. That's all alleged. The Wrap article seems pretty legit, and I think the lawsuit is a Hail Mary defense. This is from our writer. I don't know what OG means. Do we have a writer whose initials are OG? Not that I can think of. Anyway, allegedly.
Original gangster?
Yeah, but
Thanks.
in what is
Thanks
the
for that,
context, Dan? Original gangster, the Wrap article seems pretty legit.
Yeah, okay. Guys, it's fine. EA has laid off between 300 and 400 employees this week, with 100 of them coming from Premier Studio Respawn, which has resulted in 2 game cancellations, including, sorry, Luke, a new Titanfall-based extraction shooter.
This was so depressing to hear.
Narrative designer Heather Woodward was one of the people let go just 24 hours after the reveal of the first character that she wrote for Apex. And hold on, where's this link that where's the link I sent in the chat? If I send a link in the chat, it kind of means that I want to talk about the stuff it says in the chat. And how to get fired from video games industry. This is hilarious.
Make a successful game.
Well, no, it's got a whole bunch of examples. Apex layoff. Hold on. Where is it? Dang it, I can't find it. Is it from PC Gamer? Yeah, this is it from PC Gamer. They've actually got a pretty, I don't want to call it funny because this is really terrible news, but they've got a humorous take on the situation. Let's look at all the reasons why you might get laid off while working on a game, shall we? Your game doesn't do well. Okay, sure. Your game is called a success by Microsoft. Microsoft lays you off. You help make a game as successful as Marvel rivals. You are then laid off. Your studio gets acquired for over $60 billion. You are then laid off. You endure executive pressure that forces you into making games your studio isn't good at making. It doesn't go well. You are then laid off. I guess that was Monolith, I assume.
I'm assuming, yeah. I don't know.
No, this is Arcane.
That also makes sense.
Okay. Someone decides your portfolio needs to be aligned, reorganized, restructured to become more flexible, agile, versatile under economic industry conditions. Meanwhile, your CEO might have spent $2 million on vintage cars. You are then laid off. Now we can add you dared to work on a video game to that list, I guess. This is, I don't understand I'm not understanding the logic here. Can you help me understand the logic? Can any of you help me understand the logic? Are any of you video game executives?
Well, I think, okay, this has nothing to do with the video game industry.
They could be. You don't know that they aren't.
I think there's been a strong correlation since like 2023 of shrink company stock go up.
Oh, I think that's well before 2023, sir.
Is it?
Maybe more specific to the game industry, which admittedly probably had gotten a little bit overambitious because of the COVID boom, but I mean, shrink company stock go up has been a thing.
Yeah, but there was a lot of drive, like especially in 2020, but also before 2020, before COVID stuff, for gaming and tech companies to massively inflate their staff numbers.
Gaming and tech companies, yes, but I'd say more generally, especially if a company is, falling slightly short of analyst projections.
So shrink it, yeah, that's been a thing for a long time.
Shrink it, stock go up has been a thing for a long time.
I don't think we've seen it in gaming and tech for a long time. And then in COVID eras, they cranked the inflate the staff numbers harder than ever before. And then coming out of it, they're like, oh, wait. There's this way to pump the stock where you just fire a ton of people?
Okay, there's a few things in Floatplane chat. This is a very passionate topic for them. Jack Welch, former GE CEO, apparently started the fire people to make stock go up trend. That was a long time ago. But we already we're all caught up on that. Alana Pierce apparently has a really good video about these layoffs, so you guys are apparently going to want to go check that out. Source FSP9. But there was actually another one that I wanted to look at here, and this is from Screenies in the Floatplane chat. CEOs of these companies need to stop selling their studios to giant corporations. But here's the thing. It's not quite that simple. And when we toured Monolith, it was actually shortly after their acquisition, and talking to folks there, the decision kind of made a lot of sense. Monolith was, I would say, like more of a AA developer. Do you say that's a fair assessment? I wouldn't call a game like Fear AAA.
Yeah.
Like it was on a relatively small budget.
What's the definition again? AAA
big
games.
Budget, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys think that's a fair characterization?
I think so.
Characterization?
I think so. I would say so for sure.
So I would say, Monolith is like a AA game maker. And even at that time, this was years ago, right? Even at that time, they were looking at the trend in the gaming industry that of development costs going essentially parabolic, and the returns going parabolic as well, but only for a small handful of successful titles. So basically what you were locked in was this endless cycle of like, bet the entire farm, work, grind, crunch, until you finally get to release, hope that you have absolutely nailed it, right? Because you bet everything. So you're swinging for the fences. You hope you nailed it. You get this enormous windfall of cash that's even bigger than last time. Everybody has a party. Realistically, a lot of people still lose their jobs, like QA staff are not really needed toward the beginning of game development, where it's more about ideation and laying a groundwork or whatever else. And then you rinse and repeat. Because the expectation from the customer is bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, why do you think it's taking Rockstar so bloody long to make Grand Theft Auto 6, which just got delayed?
Ogresaurus in Floatplane chat said, then you made Starfield. Oof.
Well, that's exactly it. And so to answer your question, well, why do they sell out? They sell out because that's exhausting. And it's terrifying to go all in. I can tell you guys, as a business owner who has gone all in multiple times.
Imagine you just make one product every 5 years.
And if
that product's not a banger, ouch.
And even if it is a banger, how many copies of Freelancer sold? I want to know. How many copies of Freelancer sold. Okay. The video game Freelancer is reported to have sold approximately 20,000 copies in the UK during the first half of 2003. While exact total sales figures are not readily available, there were hopes that the game would sell at least 500,000 copies. And I can tell you that if it did 20,000 in the UK, it sure as hell didn't do 500,000 copies worldwide. It was an awesome game. Awesome. So good. That doesn't mean it's successful. Yeah, people are bringing up Titanfall. Just because a game is great doesn't mean that it's going to sell. So you could do everything right, and you could still get fucked.
And Titanfall was largely, a lot of people's opinion on that was that they were the release window.
Prey.
Lack of marketing and stuff.
Prey was a super cool game. Total commercial flop. I mean, as far as I could tell, they probably gave away more copies with GPUs than they actually sold. So that's the thing, right? So why do they sell out, Luke? Well, because they're terrified. Because that's their opportunity to realistically to cash in on all the work that they did leading up until that moment. They got paid their salary or whatever else. But if they're sitting there in that moment, they just launched a huge game and they get a big offer that values their company at something akin to the revenue that they're making right now on this huge game launch. Put yourself in their shoes.
Most people would sell.
And tell me that you have the personal integrity, or you have the personal code that would make you turn away tens of millions of dollars versus fear for your livelihood daily?
I can tell you
I know
a
what you
lot
would
of
do.
people are not going to answer this truthfully.
I know.
They might think they are, and I still bet you it's not true.
It is, I can tell you from experience, it is really difficult to say no to tens of millions of dollars. Super hard.
Doesn't regret it.
Super hard.
Kind of based.
Super hard, though. Not easy decision. And you know what? I got to tell you that I had
it's a weird flex.
I had a big advantage there. Huge advantage. Because when my offer came,
we weren't starving.
I had literally just purchased my dream home.
Yeah.
Right? We were in a sustainable space, right? Like, we never took startup capital. We weren't like spending someone else's money and trying to figure out returns and then taking the windfall and having to reinvest it, maybe even go into debt towards the end of it to get this thing over the line, take on investment. We weren't playing any of those games. I was running a profitable month to month, year to year, even day to day. I was running a profitable company. And, realistically, another $10 million wouldn't have changed my daily life. It just wouldn't have really made a difference. And yeah, that is an extremely privileged position. And I recognize that is realistically a huge part of why I was able to make the decision I was able to make.
But when making payroll every week is like absolutely freaking terrifying, I can understand. I would not do it. I can understand someone doing it. And I really don't believe that a lot of people that would be like, I wouldn't do it. I don't believe that most of them wouldn't do it.
Me neither.
I've been in related scenarios, so I can kind of trust my own answer, I think. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So our worksman in Floatplane chat put it really well. I came to my decision from a position of power, not a position of fear. If I had been in a position of fear, it would have been totally different. I had a little bit of fear, which was a big part of why I even started the conversation in the first place. To be clear, when I say started, I mean was receptive to the conversation. I didn't reach out. And that fear was
also just an interesting conversation. Sometimes you want to have those conversations even with zero intent.
I like knowing what my stuff's worth.
Yes.
It's like getting your coin collection assayed. I want to know what my company's worth.
It's an interesting conversation.
Yeah. So we hadn't launched Backpack yet. So I had some fear that we had made an enormous bet that wasn't going to pay off. But as I talked about prior to the Backpack launch, which was a big part of the whole Trust Me Bro controversy, we even were approaching that large bet from a position of strength. If I had to refund every single one of those backpacks, I could afford it. I knew that, right? I wasn't in the position of like a game company, of someone in a leadership position at a game company where they literally wouldn't know where their next meal was coming from if their next game flopped.
And this isn't always true.
No.
There are companies that have that are much more financially stable that still sell out. There's all these different scenarios, right? But I think the one that Linus is describing is a pretty common one for probably the majority of studios that aren't just making like incredible bank all the time.
Yeah, like
not everybody's Larian.
If they have an as a service game or whatever else, or they're just like printing money with like, a dozen active mobile games that are, gotcha AF, like, sure, there's definitely examples
they
where
already did the selling out basically at that point. They
Right.
just sold out to themselves, I guess.
So I guess I'm talking more about your traditional game studio.
Your traditional medium level successful, medium to low level successful.
I'm speaking from my experience doing the tour at Monolith, basically speaking to people who literally just went through this acquisition and more recently have now been shuttered because they were pushed to make a game that wasn't really aligned with their experience. No, that one was the Wonder Woman IP one. Sorry, that was actually a slightly different situation. I mean, pay 90 brings up a good point. I mean, technically, even Larian's kind of got some 10
That's a
cent ownership.
misleading. Yeah, the way it was originally typed is a misleading statement.
But they had to go sniffing around for money. And if anything, I think that kind of adds strength to the point that I'm trying to make, where it is a ruthless, cutthroat
Brutally.
business. It's tough.
One of the most, probably.
And if someone succeeds in that business and gets an opportunity to get theirs and they take it, we cannot agree. We cannot like it.
I can understand.
But I think that there are very few people, and you might be one of them. I believe you are probably one of them. You might be one of them who would say no, who would walk away from it and who would swing for the fences again and again and again and would never get tired of it. But I do believe that most people would just say, well, I mean, I got to eat. My kids got to go to school, you know?
Especially when you have dependents.
Yeah. My wife's got to drive a nice car.
My family member has whatever problem,
some illness
that I could solve with this.
Just
imagine.
Yeah. I mean, look at what people will do for, you know, the payouts on something like Beast Games.
Yeah.
Right? Or just Mr. Beast's videos in general. Look no
the
further
reasons,
than that.
right? Like I'm in a fairly privileged position that no one in my life is in one of those scenarios, right? So if my mom was like not going to make it unless I had a ton of money to ship her off to some country to pay for some really expensive operation, and somebody was like, you could do this thing, like,
yeah, you do it.
Yeah.
No question.
So like there are lines.
Everyone
right?
has lines.
In my current scenario, I can resist because I'm fine and I'll be fine. And I enjoy swinging for the fences and I like it when it's hard. So, pause. But, you know, things could change that would sway me for sure.